Hi everybody, this is Brian Pittman, Caterpillar Incorporated. We're downtown in the LC building. As you can see, we're out here in the High Bay area where most of our technicians are tearing down, doing DNA on new products, finding better ways to tear the products down and get them back together faster and safer. And so today we're going to talk about a couple of things that most people use every day out in the shop. And when I talk about any of these products, I always try to throw in a safety tip that's been passed on to me by guys smarter than me, I might add. First off, I'm going to talk a little bit about hammers. This is a 223-1694, and you'll see this on everybody's toolbox. It's one of those hammers that you don't really use for impact. You're tapping things so you don't dent things up. Pretty nice little hammer. And then it's got your typical sledgehammer. I prefer them with a fiberglass handle in it, but this is the one we had out here. They come 8, 12, 16 pounds. This is J.H. Williams, but they're good. They're good things to have around when you need to persuade things. But remember, don't swing these at your feet. If you're swinging one of these things, make sure that you've got some steel-toe shoes on and protect yourself, okay? Especially if there's stuff flinging around when you're hitting. So, but let's talk a little bit about striking tools while we're here. You've got the big old striking tools here with the thing on the end, which you'd hit with a hammer. I don't have a hammer here. Then we got punch groups. These happen to be a 226-1900. Come in these little kits. Tough to get off without basically what you're seeing here with these punches. This is a 225-1907. It says wear safety goggles right on it, and that's exactly what they mean. One thing I know about punches and chisels is that when you're hitting, stuff's flying, and you don't want to get hit in the eye. So if you've got a full face shield, usually it's a little bit better. But basically these things are just what they say they are. They're punches. You're punching stuff out after you ground them down. So be careful with those. This particular item I talked about a little bit before, and I've also talked a little bit about how you sharpen these edges. Usually on this one right here, you've only got about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch as far as where the sharpness is, and you can dress these as you use them. They get all boogered up here on the end, and you just need to dress them on a wheel, on your grinder. But remember, you're not coming up the shank here, because that's where you lose the hardness and the heat treat. So what you want to figure on is about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, dressing that down on both sides, and you got it going. But like I said, always be safe. When you're pounding on these with a hammer, whatever you got going on that end, be careful. And I do like this. When the shank comes up like that, it gives you a better chance of protecting your hand. And if you can get them with a bigger one on there, it's even better. Because when you're striking this, if you miss here and hit your hand, you'll get injured. Believe me, I've done that. All right. Let's just talk about one other thing. This is a chisel set. This is a 227-3795. Same situation, comes a little pouch. And with these, same thing. When you're pounding on there, be real careful, don't hit your hand. And same way when you're dressing these after they've pounded. The other thing I wanted to say is about these is generally the heat treat goes up the shank here a little ways, but when you get it up here about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, it's time to throw it away and get a new one, because it's just not safe after that. And as usual, when you're dressing it on the wheel, you've got about a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch on this one. So that's a rule of thumb. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about is this bad boy here. I can tell you right now, this is a pretty good sized slide sledge. We sell these, and they're one of the safest products out there you can possibly use. And when I talk about that, it's easy for me because I've taken the old punch and I've taken a hammer and knocked the pins out when you're doing GET. Now, I'll tell you this. I want to be the guy swinging the hammer, not the guy that's holding it, you know, the punch. Now, I can tell you that because many people get hurt doing that. Whether they're doing it to themselves or there's two people doing it, knocking pins out of this GET, it's dangerous work, let's face it. This, on the other hand, takes care of that. And let me tell you why. There's lots of tips that you can put on these things, like this right here, to knock stuff out, get them on there, and you release this back down here by pulling it up. See how that came out? You take this bad boy like this, you put that on the pin, and you slam this. What it does is it just pops that pin right out. Nobody, I mean, you got a hand guard here, it's about 30 pounds, bang, bang, knock them things out. This is one of the safest products I've seen in a long time out there, especially when you're working with heavy steel and iron. But this can save you, can save somebody else. It's just a darn good tool, and it's made by Sledges, and we sell it now. Somebody asked me, does it come with a lot of tips? Well, we got 30-some tips for this thing. Just about any application you can possibly think of, we have it in our book. But the main thing is it's safe. Lots of people get hurt. Now, if you need a little bit more oomph on the end, you can get these weights. And basically, they screw right on the end here. This little cap here comes off, and you screw them right on there, so you can get a little bit more weight if you need it. A little bit bigger pin. Now, this is a small one, but they come in 4 sizes, all the way up to, boy, I can't remember how heavy they actually get, but they're way long, about like that, and they are heavy, but they'll drive even the biggest pins out of your GET. Nobody has to hold the punch, and nobody has to hit it with a hammer, and I think that's the main thing. Now, this one right here, this one's been used a lot, used and abused, and it's holding up really good. This is a good one, and they come in a pouch, a carrying pouch, and you can put it behind the seat in your service trucks, or they just really come in handy. I would say about every shop out there ought to have one because they are definitely as safe as you can possibly get. Now, last thing I want to talk about, I'll get my gloves off here, which by the way, anytime you're working with this stuff, you got a pair of gloves, put them on. It can save you abrasions, cuts, but everything. Talk about a first aid kit. First aid kits, as you can see here, it says Cat Tools and Supplies on it. Part number 150-1579. In case you do hurt yourself. You've got all the bandages here, you got ointment, you got the cloth, you got a little bit of everything here. These things are very handy to carry in a service truck. I think just about everybody I know has one that's out there working in the field. It can really save you, could save your life, especially if you're cut pretty bad and you're bleeding. But get one of these, keep it in your truck, keep it in the shop, works out pretty good. Now, last thing I wanted to say, as we talk about these type of products, we all use them every day. There's a lot of commonality here. They're basic tools. They're easy to use if they're used safe. And once again, I did want to say, this right here, this slide sledge, if you don't have one in the shop and you're working with GET or anything where you have to bust pins out, get one. They can just save a lot of injuries, and that's what we want. Caterpillar has a saying, safe to work, safe at work, home safe. And we preach that a lot, we talk about it a lot, and we mean it. So be safe out there. If you'd have any questions about this video, just give me a call, 309-675-5507. You can reach me at Pittman, that's PITTMAN_Brian_D@cat.com, or you can reach us at Cat Tools and Supplies out on the web. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, I always end up saying, I want you all to be safe out there. That's why we do these. So stay safe, and we'll see you next time.